this in general might be the question. And the answer is obvious, because there is hunger in Nigeria, which you agree with me is the land of plenty, and this should not be the case. Put simply, there are many reasons why you can have that hunger in the land. We have the volatility of prices. We're just coming out of recession, and everybody has felt it in their pocket and in their stomach, in their belly. We have weather and climate change impacts. We have conflicts. All of this has made access to food particularly harmful to vulnerable people. And this has led to hunger and malnutrition across the country. You know that Nigeria accounts for about 15% of under 5 child mortality world. And a recent study has shown that in the northern part of Nigeria, starvation has actually wiped out that particular age group. You also know that the vast majority of the Nigerian vulnerable people are farmers, and mostly female farmers. And the vast majority of the Nigerian farmers, about 80% of them, are into small-scale farming. And they generally lack the social safety nets. All these protection or protective measures, such as insurance, things that should protect them in crisis. For example, when you have desert encroachment, when you have flooding, when you have conflict, those things are not there. So the need for transformation in food security can't be more urgent. And yet, Nigeria has no shortage of policies in place. There are so many good policies. And in theory, those policies could have supported the small-scale farmers and lift them out of poverty. I just want to name a few you're very much familiar with. You remember the country vision 2020 about the economic diversification away from the oil sector. The national agricultural policy with plenty of services to farmers. You know the Anchor Borrower Program. It has great linkage with the market. You have the National Agricultural Resilience Framework. It has many services for risk management in agriculture. All these policies are wonderful. They are commendable policies. And we actually have to applaud government have put in those policies in place. But then if you have those wonderful policies, commendable policies, where's the issue? Where's the problem? The implementation of those policies is not reaching the small-scale farmers. The research, which we have just concluded, I said the title of that research is Fine Words Do Not Produce Food. It has actually found out that there is a clear disconnect between policy intention and the services that farmers are actually receiving. About 69%, just to quote some numbers here, about 69% of farmers surveyed in Adamawa and Kebbi had not received support to adapt to desertification, support to adapt to flooding, support to adapt to changing rainfall patterns. And many of them are basically relying on prayers and rituals as one of the solutions to climate change. You know, we just pray and we perform some rituals and things will be okay. We think that cannot be allowed to go on. More needs to be done by government at all levels, LGA, state, and federal level. But also the donor community needs to step up to put in more money into the ODA. Farmers need common sense support. It's not rocket science. They need access to key inputs, such as land, credit, technology, information, extension service. We have to do everything possible to ensure that the prediction that climate change could decrease Nigeria's economic productivity by up to 11% by 2020 and up to 30% by 2050 does not come true. We mentioned there is already hunger in the land. It's going to be worse if that does come true. It's also an area well researched that investment in agriculture is expected to be 11 times more effective at reducing poverty in Africa than investment in other sectors. And yet, Nigeria agricultural spending is falling pretty short. Just look at the numbers. Despite its commitment to the Maputo Declaration benchmark of 10% investment in agriculture, on average, Nigeria has allocated about 1.9%, less than 2% per year to agriculture, looking at the period 2010-2015, and it actually closed with a low 0.9%. So we know the truth, we know the reality, we know how important more investment is to lift the majority of the poor people out of poverty. The question is, why not invest the 10% of the annual budget into agriculture, especially now that the country has pledged to diversify the economy away from the oil sector? It's an important question we all have to think about, because we all have parents in rural areas farming. It is affecting us, affecting everybody. So we all have to think about that question and see, in our position where we are, what can we do to help increase investment into agriculture? It's an individual question. I think everybody needs to have an answer to that. But as you continue to think about the answer to that question, I want to stop here because there is a presentation to go into the detail, finding of that, of that research. I want to stop here and hand over to the presenter, who will take you through the element of the research. I really want to thank you for your interest. I want to...
of, let's say, corn or maize. And in 2 weeks, you see it grew up very beautiful. In the next 1 week, it dries up. And you lose everything. Without support, without anything, that phase is out. You have to continue struggling. What is it? Pest. Another thing, climate change. Another thing we face is we don't have access to mechanized farming. You have to struggle everything alone as a small-scale farmer. Mechanized farming is only for the big men. But as a small-scale farmer, you have to struggle everything. You make from making your heaps to weeding, planting, trashing, everything. You do it with stress. Then our health is also at risk when you do all those things. Then after that, you have flood. come sweep off everything, and nobody is there to help. Nobody is even there to console. Nobody is there to say, okay, this is this, do it this way. Our extension workers for the past 2 years now, they don't even come around again. Like before, 4 years ago, they'll come around, ask you questions, tell you, talk to you. Now, even when you go to their office to go and tell them, they will tell you they are coming, they won't come. We face challenges of after harvest, bringing it out from the farm. You see a woman backing a baby, carrying a heavy load on the head, trekking about for 1 hour, more than 50 kilometers, with a baby at the back and a load on the head. So when you see those things, you wonder, what is our government doing? What are the people doing? Nothing is being done. We small-scale farmers are just there. Okay, look at what happened this year. Despite the flood, despite the late rain, despite the climate change and the pest, the army worm, you see that the price of corn after harvest came down to about 100 naira per mudu, as we sell here. What is it? From 250, 280, 300 to 100 naira per mudu. It's not because the government helped us, it's not because the government assisted us, it's because the farmers are ready to work. And because of the challenge that we face, we just said, we want to work. And we did the work. But if the government has added little help and little support to us, it will have been more than that. Even getting improved seedlings. Before you get improved seedlings, you pay heavily. Before you get fertilizer, you pay heavily. Please, I want to use this opportunity to beg our government, to talk to our government. Let them look at our farmers, small-scale farmers. Let them turn around a little. They can produce tractors that you pay, that is only for the big farmers. The small-scale farmer, if a local government or an area council has a tractor, the small-scale farmer can easily hire it at a reduced rate and farm a lot. So I want to use this opportunity to talk to the media. Please, another thing I want to tell you people is, please, if you can do it, go to the farms. They say fine talk does not produce food. We don't want fine talking in the cities, in the town. If you can get to the farms, you see what people are passing through. You see what people are going through farming. And you know that we need help. So that through you, the government will hear our voice and they can help us. Thank you very much.
Goes into strategic grain reserve so that at lean period, the time where there is no food and food in the market is becoming expensive, we now begin to release the food from the strategic grain reserve as also a strategy of stabilizing price. So that the price doesn't go up and doesn't come down. We suffer that we buy, and then the farmer also suffers because he doesn't get the money that he should get when he's selling. So those are some of the provisions under the NAC, but it's still not being implemented. And of course, it's a no-brainer that it's common sense, that women are most vulnerable to this impact of climate change because of the obvious reasons and the challenges they face: lack of finance, lack of access, lack of even in terms of space to participate in leadership, decision-making processes, all those things. So it really makes them even more vulnerable. Interestingly, Nigeria is also, in 2017, the giant of Africa, the largest economy in Africa. We are one of the 6 countries worldwide that account for half of all child deaths from malnutrition. Now. So we need to see beyond just the promises and the commitments, because we know, yes, there is the commitment, the political will, and the effort all being put. However, it's still not translating into actions. We need to see the funding increased, and this funding is to be channeled also to small-scale farmers, which is our second demand. So if we have this, so it means we then need to actually understand what the needs of these farmers are, because most times we don't involve them. So this 2018 budget, again, hammering on this 2018 budget, is an opportunity for us to change this cycle. The good thing with this government's budget process is that now it's a ZBB process, zero-based budget. So it means that the budget should actually be addressing real needs. as against the usual style we do of just having templates and pasting and pasting. And you cannot address needs if you don't involve the people that are affected. Just like I was saying, you cannot have somebody's head's accent, right? And lastly, is to enact policies to scale up private sector involvement. Because we know that the SDG goals, Goal 17, is for global partnership. And one of those is also in terms of mobilizing finance. Government alone cannot do it. Private sector also have a huge role to play. However, the government needs to provide the enabling environment. For example, what I said earlier in terms of the policy flip-flop on food importation. Government needs to be consistent with its policies, because if policies are not consistent, investors then will not have the confidence to be able to make the right investments that will sustainably address the issues of food insecurity.